Continue to pray. Your prayers are more powerful. You see, whatever the enemy means for harm to you, to us, God will always turn that thing around for good. So stick with me. You feel like you're losing, don't you? The struggle you're in feels like it's crushing your spirit, and you're starting to wonder if God is even there listening to you anymore. The prayers that you've been praying and the desperate pleas for relief seems just sometimes echo back from a silent heaven. But what if I told you the very thing that you've been begging God to end is actually a sign God is going to do in your pain? What if your pain isn't a punishment, but preparation? That's a mindset I think we should adopt as believers. A mindset automatically that if we know the word, all things work together for the good. For good. I'm paraphrasing right now. I didn't expect to use this scripture. But that scripture, all things work together for good. For those that love God, those who are called according to his purpose. That's in Romans chapter 8. But if we think that way, and when we're in pain, it's so hard to give God the benefit of the doubt immediately. There's always a blame. We look for our source of the pain, and many times we blame ourselves. And actually, what God is trying to do is get our attention. Nobody to blame. Just the answering of the call. First off, to serve him, and just the commitment in your life. Your life when you decided, I'm going to serve him, and then you're going to be obedient to those things that are written in his word and the things that is commanded us to do, and commit yourself to learning and all those things that it takes. You've gotten involved in everything that it takes to develop your relationship with him. The devil don't like that. Here I want to read in 1 Peter chapter 4. Beloved, think it not strange concerning the fiery darts, which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened unto you. Not something strange, Peter said, but rejoice inasmuch as you are partakers of Christ's suffering. Rejoice in that. Man, how privileged are we to partake in his suffering. What an honor. And that's where our faith comes in. And there's no doubt. And not only so, but we glory in tribulation also, knowing that tribulation worketh patience, and patience experience, and experience hope. Romans chapter 5, verse 3 and 4. So Paul understood something most of us miss. Our suffering is never wasted. It's always for a purpose. There's always a reason, a purpose in our pain. When God allows that, begin to look for what is that purpose. God uses tribulations to build something inside of us. Patience, character, and hope. So this means that every storm, every sleepless night, and every unanswered prayer is a part of a divine process. Your pain is not random. If you study your pain, I suppose it could be a type of classroom for each and every one of us. Let me say that no one should think of themselves more highly than they ought to think, but soberly, but in this case, rationally, on how God is allowing our pain to build a character in us. We need to pay attention to that instead of dwelling on the negative things. Pain hurts. Pain is uncomfortable in itself, an adjustment in our lives. Who wants that? But pain can be course correction also. Like, we could be on course, we could veer off course, and God allowed a pricking, like a thorn to prick, make us feel a little pain to get our attention, maybe to get us to stay on course. We get comfortable and we drift off course, and then trials come. And suddenly, when those trials come, it puts us in a place where we're seeking Him again. We're seeking God again. At first, our prayers were passionate and purposely done. Our time was purposely given to Him. And you get comfortable. We get comfortable. And I'm not saying we're necessarily sinning, but I'm saying that we could get to the place where we get so familiar with God where we can't hear Him anymore. And that's thinking highly of ourselves. That's thinking too much right there. We can be confident in God. If we can do all things through Christ, which strengthens us, but our affliction isn't always a punishment. It might be a redirection. God might be saying, that path that you're on is headed nowhere. Yeah, come on back to me. Your pain could be a call back home, or your pain could be a call back on course. As I said earlier, you're going down the right path. So let's stick with being consistent with what we commit to God. Let's discipline ourselves. That's the word. Because you see, it's not like serving God. It's not like you can't train yourself to do that. It's a discipline. It's a difference than training. It's a discipline. Discipline is something you have to do on your own. No one can be disciplined for you. We don't want to get to the place where we miss God. Look, in 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9, it says, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. And see, in our weakness is a stage where God's strength perform. The very area that we feel unqualified is where God's strength is displayed in his power. Every tear that drops from our eye, and every struggle that we go through, every why me, Lord moment is forging authority and endurance inside of us. That's what's going on. Why me? It builds us and brings us to another level. Let's look at Joseph in Genesis chapter 50. Joseph was betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, thrown into prison, but yet every step of that was his preparation. He had finally stood before Pharaoh. Genesis 50:20 says, "You thought evil against me, but God meant it unto good." The pit for Joseph wasn't punishment. The pit was preparation. What looked like a setback was actually a setup. I'm using those cliches because we hear them, we use them, but let's listen to that and see what that's saying. Your trial is training ground for your destiny that God had already planned. So, God trains us. He prepares us for the place that he's already prepared for us. Sometimes it takes the thing called trial. We have to go through that tribulation. Oh, no, some Christians don't want to hear that, but we just want all good. But the reality is the sun shines and the rain comes on the just and the unjust alike. Every day it could rain. Sun may not come out tomorrow. We have to learn to say, God, what are you teaching us? Instead of asking, why me? Why me? Ask, Lord, what are you teaching me through this? Because there's always a purpose in my pain. And remember, God's not going to allow us to go through this pain alone. He's going to be right there. It's going to coach us and help us through this thing. But the only thing that's going to get us through when those times come is prayer and discipline, a disciplined life. So we understand that pain can be course correction. Pain builds spiritual strength. And pain prepares us for God's purpose. Until next time, be grateful, stay faithful, and live fearless.